Hi everybody, my name is Anne. Thank you very much for joining me. Today I'm going to tell you how I used multi-tool math to make the classic SD an amazing Swiss Army knife for me. Now, if you don't have background on this, this is my usual Swiss Army knife, my beloved Swiss champ. I cannot get enough of this Swiss Army knife. I adore it. I love to bring it with me everywhere, but I had begun feeling disconnected from a lot of people who love the really tiny classic SD. The classic SD comes in more scales than any other Swiss Army knife, by far. There's tons of classic SD collectible scale items that come out every year, and you know, they put a lot of focus. The Victorinox company puts a lot of focus into making this a really beautiful tool. My problem was I just didn't understand why it was useful. So I decided to take on this challenge. To take on this challenge, I actually ended up learning a lot about multi-tool math. And I think I have the basic equation for you, and I might be updating this later, but please let me know what you think about this equation in the comment section below. This is what I think it is. I think it is accessibility times usefulness equals value. And the more accessible, the more useful it is, the more valuable the tool is, but likewise, something very inaccessible or very not useful is going to lead to a very low value item for EDC. So when I started with this, I actually realized that this was the most accessible multi-tool I've ever seen. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit how I made it more accessible with this. Of course, the obvious thing you can do is put a tiny Swiss Army knife like this in your pocket, and that is what I did the majority of the time. But then I lost it out of some sweatpants in my car because it was in my pocket and they just didn't have any ability to retain this little Swiss Army knife, so I lost it briefly. That made me start thinking, well, what am I going to do when I'm wearing a dress, for example, that has no pockets? Because I really wanted this to always be with me. So I did think about this. Now, I do have the sense of style that allows me to wear a Swiss Army knife as a necklace, and I have friends and family who don't seem to think it's all that weird, if you can see it there. But I did start wearing this as a necklace, but you may have seen there, I don't just have it running through the chain, but I found it was always annoying to be taking the chain off, and it was kind of decreasing my accessibility of this tool. Long story short, I didn't think that anything other than this that I found would really work. This is a magnet that is used to hold two ends of a jewelry together. It's like a jewelry clasp for a necklace or for a bracelet or something like that. And it's kind of meant for people that are going to have a hard time manipulating those tiny little pieces of their jewelry in order to put the necklace on themselves. Instead, by using this magnet, this will totally hold it for them. It is not a regular jewelry magnet clasp though, because those have magnets that kind of meet end to end like this. These meet sideways and have a little nub in there, and I'll show you what that looks like. There's two nubs and two indentations where the nubs meet. And when the magnets are put together, it is actually really hard to pull them apart. Let me show you here. I can, if I pull really hard, get them apart, but I would never be pulling that hard on this, and you know, I don't want it to be the kind of thing that wouldn't come off, but it comes off very easily when I just rotate the two pieces in relation to each other. And I will put a link in the description box below on where you can get these. They're super cheap. I got them on Amazon and they were $10 for 10 of them. So it seems like a very cost-effective solution. If you're thinking about the magnets used to hold keys onto key rings, like the Key Smart magnets or something like that, I did consider that. I didn't love the Key Smart branding on there, and the size looked like it was going to be a little obnoxious. So after I had really maximized accessibility, and I'm going to tell you, I wore this for like an entire month around my neck. Yes, even going to bed, I often had this necklace with my Swiss Army knife on. But once I'd maximized that, that's only one part of the equation, right? I needed to maximize the usefulness. And really, my problem with this multi-tool was never with the accessibility. It was always with the usefulness, because the tool set doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And I think I probably got this from Ben at Texas Tool Crib, but it does just annoy the snot out of me that they do not have this nail file with the nail cleaner tip anymore. They only have the screwdriver tip, and they don't even sell classics like this anymore. I was trying to find one to link to in case people were annoyed by the same thing and wanted to get one. I can't even find any. That always kind of annoys me. Likewise, I think that the Rambler is a better choice here with its extra tool, because now you've got 2 different screwdrivers and it seems like more of a really small tool set multi-tool, right? Or a really small tool set Swiss Army knife. And I really do love the Rambler, but even this is small. What I really like is the full size, multi-tool or Swiss Army knife full size tools that I get on here. So this was a big problem for me. I did 2 things. First of all, I watched Johnny Fire's videos. Now, I did not really do any of the things that he did with his classic SD in those videos, but it did just kind of open my mind a little bit to what can be done. So I got creative to improve my tool's usefulness. And the other thing I did to improve my tool's usefulness was, and this might be really controversial, but I decided to treat the classic SD not as disposable, but as replaceable. Because really, this costs like $23. If I was going to push it a little bit, push what I thought this tool could do a little bit and risk damaging it, I thought maybe I could get more out of it. So I really put this to the test. In fact, probably the most amount of work that I did with it is on some vines that are encroaching into our yard. I frequently take out my saw and I cut these vines out because they're just growing everywhere. And so I'm always trying to get rid of these things, right? So this is my normal tool. Instead, I used my scissors and knife, and I was able to actually take care of some of these vines, right? It wasn't awesome, but it was way, way more than what I thought this tool was capable of. By not babying this tool, I allowed it to live up to its full potential. And honestly, this has made me a big fan of the classic SD. Now that I've improved the usefulness and I've really maximized the accessibility, I now feel like the classic SD has good value for me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this magnet necklace and the classic SD in general in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.